Hey everybody, my name's Jenny Marlow, and I'm coming to you live right now over the Spencer and Monique Teppe murders. I have some stuff to say. I've been following it very closely as well, and you know, everybody's like, why? And this is 10 years ago that this doctor that she was married to that she got a divorce from. Well, if he was in a coercive control with her and he was manipulative with her and all of that, and she had to get away from him. I mean, chances are, and this is just total speculation on my part, chances are, like, I mean, maybe he could have reached out to her. Maybe she said hello to him, or whatever, and tried to be nice because she seems to have a very, very kind heart, just from everything I've heard and everything I've watched. And, a man like her ex-husband, Michael McKee, he seems like more of a loner, and then that makes me think, well, is he involved in pornography? Does he have a problem with that? Has he had relationships with people or not? Because a lot of times people who can stay single like that, they don't need other people, or they think they don't need other people. And I've seen that over and over and over again. And then personally, in my own life, I've been through a divorce that, I was married to someone that, had coercive control as far as me and over, and it changes you. It makes you think that you're who they say that you are, and they try to break you down and try to stab you like little by little, basically take small stabs over time until you're bleeding out, and I'm glad she got away from that. But like, I can see just the kind natured people who would fall into that, maybe. So we don't know, because and also too, we are all creatures of habit. So on her keypad, as far as an entry goes to the house, everyone's like, there's no forced entry. Well, he was going to find a way to get in there anyway. I mean, that's irrelevant. But I would say too that he probably, if I had to say, like, he could have guessed a number that she used, that they both used, a 4-digit number, like, to even open your garage or whatever. I mean, I've done that so much. And anyway, so I those are just my thoughts, and I don't know what you think, but I um I wanted to hop on here because I've heard so much, like, why? And, and also, too, someone with this grandiose personality, too, that he probably has about himself, like, I'm a surgeon, but he didn't seem very successful at all. I mean, he had some malpractice issues and all of that, her ex-husband did. And, when you look and you're just sitting there stewing, if that's what he was doing, or if he reached back out to her and she did reach out to him in some way to be kind, I can see where he would look and compare and stew. And thank you for you guys who are on here right now. Hello, and thank you for your compliments. And how are you? I'm doing good. And I'm in Alabama right now, but this case has just perplexed me and it hurt my heart so much over these kids. And so I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm not sitting here in the dark going like, whoa, I just don't understand why somebody is evil like that, or how that could happen. I know that I probably stayed too long in a situation. Hello, Scarlett. I probably stayed in a situation way too long. Hey, Joey Taylor. Hello, Sivan. Um, Hassan Khan. uh, yes, hello. I'm good. How are you doing? So, thank you. But I just, for someone to come in and then leave the kids, and I mean, I can tell you right now, I probably wouldn't have people beating down my door. Like, if I didn't show up somewhere, they'd be like, "Oh, that's Jenny," But it's just really sad. And so, but I was thinking about his personality. If it was grandiose and he was watching them from afar too, I mean, maybe that's a motive. I don't really know. But I just feel like there's something missing. Like there's some kind of connection there missing because he had his licenses in all kinds of places. I mean, Nevada, California, Virginia, where he could go and practice being a vascular surgeon. And I just don't think he was a very good one, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so he could have, in passing, thought of her, reached out to her, said hello to her, and just being the kind person that she is and kind natured person like her. Hey, Melania. Yes, hello. Thank you. Anyway, and so I'm just saying that those are my thoughts. And I mean, they found the murder weapon. We do know that. There was a police conference this morning saying that they had found the murder weapon. And, I really get into the true crime stuff too. I do. But, like, I am just so sick for those kids. And then also, I'm a Christian and I'll never be able to separate that too, where there's just evil in this world and God has allowed our days to be numbered a certain way, but it's still horrid. It's horrible, but what in the manner and the way that they had to die, like it's just despicable. And God will judge this man. And I feel so bad. But anyway, and so I just believe that there's something missing there. I'm glad they got the murder weapon. They went to his place in Illinois. They found several weapons that they took out. I'm sure they probably had a hard time getting a shoe like cast or mold from, friends coming in and out of the scene. And, you want to protect the crime scene, and you also want to protect like a chain of custody. Thank you for subscribing, Melania. A chain of custody as far as any evidence that you get. And so the police are being in Ohio, Columbus, and the mayor, they're being very quiet about whatever they have found. He is going to be extradited. We know that. And either Boston police, Columbus, Ohio, sorry, police are gonna I'm so sorry, either gonna transfer him, or they have a company that they will hire that will transfer him back to Ohio so he can be extradited. And so we've seen the Bell hearing over and over. If you haven't, you can look on other channels and all of that, and see where they have you know shown the hearing. He waived his right to a speedy trial, as far as the extradition goes and everything. He's going to be extradited. Or did he? I'm thinking is Barry Morphew. I know I saw him. He waived his right to a speedy trial. But anyway, that's a whole nother day. So we've got the Teppe case. We have Barry Morphew too, if you watch true crime. And we have also John Paul Miller and Micah Miller, and that is just a whole line of people who are into coercive control. Those are the top three, I think, right now that I'm like, whoa, and I'm thankful that some charges have been brought to against John Paul Miller. Not to change the subject, but anyway, but back to the Teppe, murders. Like we see just how happy they were, but still you just don't know what goes on. And that keypad entry to their door could have just been an old number. I mean, it really could have, and she could have been kind to him, just being the person that she is. And you really don't know. And people are happy too, but I know there's also, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but there's like, I think it was either 75 miles or 75 minutes. I need to get my facts straight. That's just hearsay, of the drive that he had from his dental office, to his house. That's a long drive. And he was very committed to his work and his patients. I don't know if she got lonely at all. I'm not saying reach back out to your psycho ex. I'm not saying that at all. But I mean, I can see where someone would just maybe be kind or whatever. So, I mean, that's going to come out. But I don't know why people are just like, la di da, like, not a reason in the world. If we're going to speculate, then speculate that there could be something like that, possibly. And so, anyway, I mean, she talks about all the dates that she went on. So, I mean, she was looking for someone and a man, to marry and to settle down with and all of that. And so you guys can let me know what you think. Um, you can let me know. Oh, so sorry. You can let me know what you think. Um, what about that relationship, possibly if you've been in a coercive control. Um, what do you think about her relationship to her ex? And one thing I thought about is how, he got the house. And hold on one second. He got the house, um, and okay, um, um, sorry. So anyway, he got the house, and the only thing that I can think of, if something had come back up in the court system, is that, um, sorry, is that you know you if you usually, I know in Alabama, you would have to sign a quit claim deed to get your name off of a house. And so they had a house in Virginia, and he got the house, because he was the one that primarily stayed there. I mean, they weren't even like living together, full time when they were married. So everybody's like, "Oh, it was 7 months. This was 10 years ago." It's really not that far back if you think about it, because she got married to Spencer and they started a family right away. I mean, their child's about to turn 4, I believe, or is 4, and they've been married 4 years. So they started their family pretty clearly. Did you get the Little Debbie's cakes, or I don't know. Cam C228, the Valentine's Little Debbie cakes are coming out, and I cannot wait. I told my daughter, I was like, if you ever get married in February, your mom is making your cake out of those Little Debbies. They're the hearts. So they're so good. Anyway, but I was gonna say, as far as a case being open, or a point being, anything being open on their case, they are so good, Cam. So the case being open, or something to do in 2025, it could have it could have been a property thing, but it's closed. It could have been a quit claim thing or something like that. If there's anything, that needed to go on still with that divorce, that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, you wouldn't have any other business, past a certain amount of time, unless someone's not keeping the divorce decree. And so, thank you so much. That is so sweet, Cam. And so, past the divorce decree, you just wouldn't have, unless you're just not complying, and all of that. And boy, do I know about that. I went through a horrible divorce, and my ex-husband, and this is my freedom of speech, but my ex-husband, he literally made me go through 2 years to get a divorce with him, and it wasn't my fault that we were getting a divorce either. And so, I had a biblical reason to get a divorce, and I'm like, what in the world? But some people want to make it as horrible on you as they can. I have been in court with him now for 12 years. Like, any kind of litigation you look up or anything like that, you'll see, like, oh my word. I mean, we've been in court. And as a believer, I can't separate that. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. I don't know what you believe, and this is my belief, so I'm whatever. Uh, I mean, you can have yours, but this is mine, and I'm pretty ironclad about it. First Corinthians chapter 6 talks about that you don't take another believer to court. And because we're going to sit and judge angels, like if we can't work out the matters among ourselves, and it's like literally there's a story in you know, about Solomon in Ecclesiastes, and he prayed for wisdom to rule the people, and he was a real life king. He existed. I mean, that's historically too, David's son. Well, there's two women, and they had babies, and they were sleeping with them, and one rolled over on one, and it killed the baby. And so she went and swapped the other baby for hers, and then they had to go before Solomon, King Solomon, and he said, "You know what? Let's cut the baby in half. You can have half. You can have half." And there are a lot of people. The real mom speaks up, and she's like, "No, give the baby to her, like to the other mother." And he knew that was the real mom. And so there are just people who want to make your life a living Hades, and if they've got the money to do it, like watch out. I mean, and be careful too. Like I even had cameras in my bedroom, in my bathrooms, in my houses. Like I was bugged in my car. I mean, all of that. You just don't know how tight a grip people will put on you. I also had like someone following me for 2 years everywhere I went. I mean, I knew who it was immediately. And that's why we've got to watch out for our surroundings. We need to have boundaries with our heart and guard our heart with all guarding, like, because it does affect everything that we do. And I'm not saying that Monique is, or Mo for short, is responsible at all, for that. That's horrible, but I'm saying, just as people, like I'm very aware, like I was aware the day someone was following me, and I was gonna send the guy a Christmas card after 2 years, and my husband was like, "Don't." And so because I'm like, "You follow me around for 2 years, like I'm going to." So anyway, but I was just gonna say, I know what it's like to be with someone who does not care about you. And I mean, getting married to someone and her thinking she's going to spend the rest of her life with this dude. And, like getting married to someone and then it being like such a disappointment and not what you expected. And having legitimate needs that just aren't met. I mean, I don't know. That's all speculation. But I'm just saying personally, I know what it's like to have needs that aren't met, that should be met in a legitimate way and in a marriage, but the person's so selfish. And, that I believe goes back a lot to people with addiction and people who are living a lie and maybe who are into devious things. And, I was watching the case about the au pair and the husband who murdered his wife. And it's just so awful. I'm sitting there watching that on court TV today. And I'm like, how unnecessary. And I mean, we really do. I mean, it is what a tangled web we weave when we do at first deceive. And I remember Alec Murdoch trying to say that, and he didn't say it correctly at all. And so, but I'm watching on court TV, and it starts out small, and then they're on this horrible FetLife site. And I've seen that with a marriage too. And that whole thing with this person that I know personally, he was into this site, and it's horrible. And his addictions were horrible, and I mean to the point where he was going to prey on his own child. And out of that was born a prostitution ring that got shut down too. And it's just awful. Some of you are probably like, "No, whatever," but I just want to see what you say, what you think. And anyway, it was good to get on here. Talk to you later.